We have to know as a person, as a soldier in the army of the Lord, what our weaponry is. If we were thrown out in the Middle East and they just said, all right, here's your weapons, you guys use them. And they didn't train you or we never took, well, what is this? And we just look at it. We wouldn't know how to use it. So we have to look in the Bible and see what our weaponry is, because it says that our battles aren't in flesh and blood, but they're in spiritual realms. And that's where we have to do the battles. And so Reggie, one of our modern day warriors, right here, he's gonna show us what our weaponry is. If you look at Ephesians 6, it talks about the weapons that we have. So when everybody's watching the World Series and the playoffs and everything, remember this. Start thinking about the armor that God has given you. Right here, start at the bottom. These are his shoes of peace with the preparation of the gospel. There's two reasons why he has cleats on. Because if he's like this, if he has shoes like I am, he's not going to be able to stand firm. So the one reason why he has those are for stability, that he can stand. When the enemy comes around, that he can't just push him around, that his feet are grounded in the word. The next thing that he has, they're not just to stand there and just let the enemy just push you around and say that, but they're for mobility. The mobility to run to the battle like David was. He wasn't just going to stand there and say, come on, take me on. He ran at that big guy, and he took him on. So that's what with peace. And only God could give the peace. We could live for peace in all kinds of different ways, but only God's peace will be able to stand the enemy. Under here, he has a belt. Turn around. The belt of truth. Yeah. The truth is the thing that fights against the enemy like nothing else, because he's the father of lies. Okay. And so when he comes against us and he says, you can't do this, you can't do that, we just say, hey, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes into the Father except by me. And we know by his word that he is the one that's going to be faithful and become our victory. So we have to take on that truth and gear ourselves with that. Next we have his breastplate. His breastplate of righteousness. His righteousness isn't something that he has on himself, but it's a gift that has been given to him. The righteousness that God gives us. There's two things. God gives us imputed righteousness and imparted righteousness. The first thing is God has given us imputed righteousness onto us. That it's nothing that we could do by saying, I'm going to do good deeds or anything like that. But God has made us righteous by his dying on the cross and making us righteous. That he has given us a breastplate of righteousness. And then the imparted part is when we become thankful and say, God, let me become more like you. And then daily we become more like him. And then that's when the righteousness becomes a part of our life. Next, coming up to his head, we have the helmet of salvation. We need that helmet of salvation because the enemy, he's going to come around and he's going to get like his fiery darts, it says in the Bible, that he gets them and he's going to throw them at your head. And he's going to shake you around and do all kinds of things. But if you don't know that you're saved, then you're going to be like, man, what's happening? But if you have that helmet of salvation, you have the confidence of knowing that God is your salvation, that he is your victory. Next, we have his glove, or his shield of faith. And this is the thing that blocks the fiery darts of the enemy. I don't know how many of you have seen the Little Rascals when he's giving out that little play and goes, country fellow, lend me your ears. And then all the little kids in the front, they start like shooting the little things at him with the keys. Well, that's what this is. That's the shield of faith. That when the enemy gets like the ball and he throws it at him, he's not even going to just like throw it, let's get catch. The enemy's going to come at you and he's going to fire things at you. The things that come at you every day. But you could use that shield of faith to catch those things and use it. Last of all, we have the bat. The bat is the thing that we can hit home runs with, or we can bunt if we use it right. And that's the Word of God. If we don't take batting practice or get into the Word of God, then we're going to be weak batters. We're never going to make any runs. We have to be getting into the Word. Because when we practice with the bat, we can do all kinds of things. We can get runs, or if we don't, then that's why we're going to strike out. That's why we're going to pop up and just everybody's just saying, he's up again because he's not getting to the word. But we want to see people that are going to be up there, be consecutivos, be people that are going to be different and do runs. And so remember, when you see any sport or baseball, think about the armor that God has given us. And thank you, guys.